Come to where the quality is. Come to Quality Land. So you're off to Quality Land for the first time ever. Are you excited? Yes, and quite rightly so. You'll soon be entering a country so important that its foundation prompted the introduction of a new calendar system, Quality Time. As you don't yet know your way around Quality Land, we've put together a brief introduction for you. 2 years before Quality Land was founded, or in other words, 2 years before Quality Time, there was an economic crisis of such severity that it became known as the Crisis of the Century. It was the third crisis of the century within just a decade. Swept along by the panic of the financial markets, the government turned for help to the business consultants from Big Business Consulting, BBC, who decided that what the country needed most was a new name. The old one was worn out and, according to surveys, only inspired die-hard nationalists with minimal buying power. Not to mention the fact that the renaming would also divest the country of a few unpleasant historical responsibilities in the process. In the past, its army had been known to, well, let's just say they overshot the mark a little. The business consultancy firm commissioned the creatives at the advertising agency Worldwide Wholesale, WWW, to come up with a new name for the country, as well as a new image, new icons, and a new culture. In short, a new country identity. After a considerable amount of time, and even more money, after suggestions and counter-suggestions, everyone involved finally agreed upon the now world-famous name, Quality Land. Can you imagine any name more perfectly suited for appearing after Made In on products? The Parliament voted in favor by a large majority, or rather, by the largest majority, because the new country identity strictly forbids the use of the positive or comparative in connection with Quality Land. Only the superlative is allowed. So be careful. If someone asks you what you think of Quality Land, don't just say that Quality Land is a wonderful country. It's not a wonderful country. It's the wonderfulest country there is. Even the towns you were likely to visit on your travels used to have other insignificant-sounding names. Now they have newer, better names. Or, as one would say in Quality Land, the newest and best names. Growth, the industrial center, expands and prospers in the south, while the university city of Progress pulsates in the north, and the old trade capital, Profit, thrives in the country's heartland. And then, of course, at the forefront of them all, there's the undisputed capital of the free world, Quality City. Even Quality Land's inhabitants were renamed. They couldn't just be ordinary people. After all, they had to be quality people. Their surnames, in particular, sounded very medieval and didn't fit with the new progress-orientated country identity. A land of millers, smiths, and tailors isn't exactly a high-tech investor's wet dream. And so the advertising agency decided that, from that moment on, every boy would be given his father's occupation as a surname, and every girl the occupation of her mother. The deciding factor would be the job held at the time of conception. We wish you an unforgettable stay in the land of Sabrina, mechatronics engineer, and Jason Cleaner, the most popular middle-class rap duo of the decade. The land of Scarlet Prisoner and her twin brother Robert Warden, the undefeated BattleBot jockeys of the century. The land of Claudia Superstar, the sexiest woman of all time. The land of Henrik Engineer, the richest person in the world. Welcome to the land of the superlative. Welcome to Quality Land. A kiss. Peter Jobless has had enough. "Nobody?" he says. "Yes, Peter," asks Nobody. "I'm not hungry anymore." "Okay," says Nobody. Nobody is Peter's personal digital assistant. Peter picked out the name himself because he often feels as though nobody is there for him. Nobody helps him. Nobody listens to him. Nobody speaks to him. Nobody pays attention to him. Nobody makes decisions for him. Peter has even convinced himself that nobody likes him. Peter is a winner because Nobody is his Win assistant. Win, an abbreviation for What I Need, was once a search engine into which you had to enter questions, very laboriously, by speech command, and before that by typing by hand. In essence, Win is still a search engine, but you no longer need to ask it questions. Win knows what you want to know. Peter no longer has to go to the effort of finding the relevant information because the relevant information goes to the effort of finding Peter. Nobody has selected the restaurant Peter and his friends are sitting in, according to their calculated preferences. He has also ordered the appropriate burger for Peter. "The best recycled meat burger in Quality City," reads the paper napkin in front of him. Nevertheless, Peter doesn't like it. Perhaps because the restaurant selection had to correspond not just to his tastes, but also to his bank balance. "It's getting late, guys," says Peter to his friends. "I'm going to head off." A few indeterminate grunts come by way of response. Peter likes his friends. Nobody found them for him. But sometimes, and he's not sure why, his mood turns sour when he hangs out with them. Peter pushes aside his plate, which still contains more than half of the recycled burger, and pulls on his jacket. Nobody asks for the bill. It comes immediately. The waiter, as in most restaurants, is a human being, not an android. Machines can do so many things nowadays, but they still can't quite manage to carry a full cup from A to B without spilling it. Besides, humans are cheaper. They don't have any acquisition or maintenance costs, and there aren't any wages in the gastronomy industry either. You work for tips. Androids don't work for tips.